All right, everybody, how y'all doing? I want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight. We got a very special show lined up, as usual. Every single one of them is very special, uh, in my opinion, anyways. James, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Oh, pretty good. How are you doing, man?
Oh, not too bad. Man, I'm really excited about tonight's show. Tonight, guys, we got Justin Atkins on, the 2017 Forest Wood Cup winner. It's going to be a little bit before he comes on. He's in actually another interview right now. That's kind of running over a little bit, which is fine. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about before. And depending on when he calls, we might have to stop it and carry it on over into after he calls. So, but anyways, yeah, we got a great show tonight. Really excited about everything coming on. We actually might have another show coming up. I'm trying to get it for Thursday. We're shooting for it tomorrow, but it's just so much going on, so I don't think it's going to happen. So, but anyways, let's focus on tonight. James, I know you heard the announcement for the the 6-man fish off in the kayak.
Yep.
So that's
I'm excited. Got the campsite ready. I'm actually hanging in the camper right now.
Getting it all ready for everybody to be hanging out this weekend, ain't you?
Yeah. Gotta get things right.
Well, people that listen to our show, if y'all do listen to the show, I don't know. Now, the people that's fishing this tournament, if you listen to our show, Lake Robertson in Lexington, I guess I'm assuming it's around Lexington area, is going to be the site for the fish off. Now, people that's been following our show know that this has been a secret, and Bob wanted to keep it this way. So it's kind of, if you think about it, it's kind of like the old Bassmasters Classic format. You know, they just threw everybody on the plane. Granted, we have our own boats, but they just threw everybody on a plane and flew them out. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of like that. You know, I mean, I don't know if any of the other guys have been on the lake, but it's gonna be a great tournament. It's some good sticks in this tournament. I mean, Jason Hensley and all of them. I mean, they're good guys. They're good fishermen. So, but you know, you're gonna get everybody out of their element, put them on a lake that hopefully they've never been to, and see what happens. But James, I know you've been doing a lot with your kayak the last couple weeks. You've been adding a lot of stuff and putting a lot of stuff on there, and we're just all praying that it floats when we get to Lake Robertson. But
oh, it floats. I tested it this weekend. I didn't want to back it in the water and it just sank to the bottom.
Nah, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, man, I just enjoy seeing the pictures of everything you've been putting on there. It looks cool with the power pole and getting your new graph on, and you just put your deck mats in. Have you done that yet? I know you got them. I don't know if you put them in yet or not.
I have not done that yet.
Man,
I haven't done. That's the only thing I haven't done.
You don't get them in, you ain't gonna catch nothing.
Probably not.
But
I'll be looking good anyway.
That's right. You look like you should catch a lot. Guys, we got some really great sponsors that have come through and is really helping with this event. I want to go ahead and thank a lot of them right now. We're working on a banner right now, trying to get it set up for, and that's been a I don't even want to really talk about it, to be honest with you. It's been a headache. But anyways, I really want to thank Weldex for stepping up and paying first place winner. They donated $300. So, and then Amherst Car and Truck, they donated $200 for second place. And then Jason's Professional Painting are donating $100 to third place. But that's not it, guys. We got Vibe has sponsored. They've sent a great pack of all kinds of cool things for your kayaks. And Yak Attack has donated right much stuff. So Bob, I know, has been working, trying to get in touch with another sponsor. So we're really excited about that. But everybody at this event is going to walk home with something. So everybody that made this event is going to walk home with something. So it's a great event. I mean, you know, like I say, though, we got all those guys, and Bob and them has done a really great job trying to get all this together to make sure everybody has a great time with the cookout. The people that are not fishing, there's a lot to do in that area. That's why he kind of picked that area, he said. So it's swimming and hiking and all that. So, but anyway, Jane, have you done any research today on the lake? I know we've been busy. I ain't really had much time to really look at it yet, but I know here probably tonight I'm going to really zoom in and look at some spots. But
yeah, I've done just a little bit of research, not a whole lot. Just kind of looked at seeing what the lake looks like and everything like that.
Yeah,
just doing some research.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I just looked at it. It looks like a decent sized lake. It's not a huge lake, but that lake has a reputation for a couple 10-pounders being pulled out of there, once a year or every other year or something like that. So it seems like there's big ones there, I don't think that's going to be the problem.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a lot of grass in the lake. So that might be, it's just, it's in Lexington. Lexington is not but mountain, so it's got to be a deep lake. So, that's what I'm going to be focusing on. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably be sight fishing.
Yeah. That's what it's going to be
sight
like.
fishing in 30 or 40 foot of water.
Yeah.
But,
nah,
you know how it is.
Yeah. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a deep bite for me, and whether I might come in there and zero, but I think that's what I'm going to stick with. I love fishing deep. I just hope that I can find enough of something to make it work. So, but then talking with Bob today, he's like, it could come down to where that one little dink fish that you caught that might not really matter is what's going to win you the tournament, So I hope it doesn't come down to that little 8-inch fish that you need to win this thing, but I just hope everybody catches fish and everybody has a good time. That's the main thing. So if you're just
I hope so too.
If you're just tuning in, guys, I know some people are coming on. We're waiting on Justin Atkins. He's in another interview right now, so he's going to be on in a little while. But he'll be on tonight, so we're going to talk kayak fishing for a little bit. But anyway, so I'm kind of looking at this fishery. James, I'm going to kind of go in a little bit about what I'm looking for when I'm going to practice on this lake. And the first thing I looked at when I just went on Google is I really didn't see any kind of points. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing out there. There was one little one. Just glancing over Google real quick, but it looks like it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be tough. You're gonna have 6 guys on the water. You know what I mean? So I think the lake's plenty big enough to have the 6. It just depends on what other traffic's up there too. When we're trying to fish this event.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a pretty big lake. I don't think we'll all be, but it might fish small too. The fish might be coming out just certain spots.
Yeah.
Until we get up there, it's going to be really hard to determine where they're at,
Hey, keep your mic close to your mouth, Sean. You were sounding good just a second ago. Now it kind of sounds like you're in a cup.
So.
Get your face out the cup.
No.
No.
I'm just going to take it, when I get up there and just go after it,
Yeah.
kind of just work the water and see.
So, and that's the thing. You're just going to have to find that key spot. You got to get that first fish in the boat and start figuring out the puzzle that way. And, it might be paddling a whole entire lake. You know what I mean? You might have to jump fish that lake. We're getting into that kind of season where it could be a jump fishing season. They're transitioning.
Well, September is jump fishing.
Yeah, yeah. These fish are going to be transitioning. You look at it's been hot this week. Granted, I know you need more cooler nights, but Lexington, you're in the mountains. When we take off that Saturday morning, it looks like it's going to be 58 degrees. So
yep,
it's going to be a big temperature drop. And then the rest of this week, actually, I think it's supposed to get higher. Well, I think tomorrow maybe it's 80s. But then it goes back to 70s. So it could pull them fish up. The deep bite might not be nothing, but then again, you get some old grumps down there. They don't really want to move yet. It's not really comfortable yet. So you kind of got to look at this lake different. I'm used to looking at Smooth Mountain Lake or Bugs Island or Leesville and saying, okay, they're going to be in the backs of the creeks. Well, you really don't have a spot to say, okay, they're going to be back in the creek. They'll be midway back in the creek. You know what I mean? You got one creek, and if everybody gets that same idea, everybody is going to be piled up midways to this lake, hidden up towards the back, depending on, I don't know what kind of bait fish is in this thing.
Yeah, no, I haven't done that much research on it yet.
So yeah, I mean that's going to be kind of a determined factor. When you go to people that are, listening tonight, when you set up, and it's something I've learned from talking to many pros since we've been doing this show, and then how some things I've always done is, when you're researching the lake, the main thing is you want to find out your depth, what's your average depth of that lake, but then you also want to what kind of forage is in that lake. So, if you got a lake that's full of crawfish, full of rock, it's going to be a big crawfish water. So, shad's also going to be a key player, but you got to determine what time of the year it is too before you go into setting up for a crawfish, like a jig bite or a crankbait bite or something like that, where you're dredging the bottom. But so, anyways, that's what I'm kind of looking for. We need to go in and figure out, okay, what kind of bait fish is in this lake? Are they mainly feeding off perch, stuff like that? Because if they're mainly feeding off perch, you can really turn that bite into a shallow bite on that whole lake. Because perch, when it gets warm, they pull up. So they stay up there on the shallow. As you all know, you throw that shaky hit up there, a worm or whatever, and you feel that machine gun hit. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a fun lake. It's a lot of unknowns going into it. So.
Oh, absolutely. But hopefully, you'll get up there Friday sometime, and me too, and we'll be able to work it over a little bit.
Yeah, just kind of go paddle it.
See what it's like.
Yeah, even if I don't.
Yeah, mainly that's the main thing is just paddling it.
Yeah.
And looking at it, and maybe seeing what's on the bottom and everything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be the main thing. Just kind of getting out there and kind of figuring out how the lake lays. Is it just sharp banks? Kind of like Philpott. Is it just sharp banks everywhere, or is it you got some flats, or you got a couple little not so defined points, but they're points? That's going to be the thing. So, yeah, I'm really excited about it. But kind of get off that just a little bit before Justin calls in. I want to talk to everybody a little bit about our contest that we got going on, and it is going really good. Trying to look here, make sure. Anyways, that's Justin there saying he is almost done. So, anyways, filler time. Let's fill in some stuff. Contest is, we're almost at 200 followers on Facebook. Now, I might be nice on this because we're at 998
on
followers.
YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about on Facebook right off. I'm sorry, did I say 200?
200.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Facebook, we're at 990 followers. Once we hit the 1,000 mark, I said we was gonna do a giveaway. Well, we're at 990 likes. I'm sorry, and we're at 998 followers. I don't understand that so much. I do, but I don't. But so I might be nice, and if we hit the 1,000 followers, probably go ahead and pick a winner this Friday. When me and James get together, we'll pick a winner for that prize pack. Now, that being said, YouTube, guys, it's been great. We just actually picked up another subscriber, James. I don't know if you've seen it or looked at it today. We picked up one earlier today, and then we picked up another one right before we come on, so we're at 185 subscribers. The goal is 200 subscribers. Once we get to 200, if y'all go on our Facebook page and on Instagram, we got a big picture of a prize pack. So, actually, let me see if I got this right here. I think I got, oh yeah, here we go. So if you're watching on YouTube, it's a whole picture of our prize pack sitting in the drawer over there, ready to go out to a lucky contestant. So, so once we get to 200, guys, boom, giving it all away. So, really excited about that contest. Getting really close on both of them. So, and then once we hit that mark, and then there's going to be another a mark. So I don't know where that's going to be, and we're going to probably do some smaller contests within that time of, you know, just trying to get out some stuff to people too. So, so please go check us out on YouTube. If you're already listening, you're there. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I mean, it's not going to hurt you. All you're going to do is you're going to get a notice every time we post a new video or shows coming up. And so, whoops, hold a minute. So yeah, go ahead, subscribe. I actually got a smallmouth video that I have been working on that I talked about in the last show. Just everything coming up with the tournament and all that. I really haven't had a chance to get to it. Sorry, I'm trying to get some stuff straight. To really get to it. I'm almost done with it. There's a couple of odd end things I'm trying to tidy up on it. And then I also got another video I'm putting together. I'm going to go out one more time with my buddy Alan and go up and catch some smallmouth at the James River. So I can put a good video together on that. But we did a great video wading. And then if you haven't seen it, we got one on there now. When me and Chris and my son went wading down there, and we didn't catch that many big smallmouth, but we caught quite a few. And this one, to the otter standards, we caught some nice smallmouth. So they were the river was down. They were easier to find. They were pushed back in some of the deeper holes, so they're a little bit easier to find. But had a great time on that one. But like I said, that one will be coming up here soon, and looking forward to get that up so you guys can see it. So. Anywho, so James, what time are you going to be leaving to go up there Friday? Y'all leaving earlier in the day?
I'm hoping to leave first thing in the morning, but it all really depends.
Yeah.
I got to make sure I got some work I got to get done. If it all goes well and I'm able to get all that stuff finished up Thursday, then I won't have to go into work on Friday, but
yeah,
hopefully that's the way it works out.
Well, you better bust your tail.
That's what I'm hoping anyway. I know.
There was one thing we forgot to mention. Sorry not to cut you off, but what about Bob's Up the Creek Outfitters going to be carrying Bonafide now? What do you think about that?
I think that's awesome. I think that's a very, very, very good move.
Yeah.
Moving forward, you know, I mean, it's just going to give a different, you know, more variety for people.
Yeah. I mean, you can get into the Vibe. Vibe is a great kayak, especially at the entry level. And I mean, even not at the entry level.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, if you really like, I mean, it's a great fishing kayak. I fish on Smith Mountain at night, and you know, we'll start during the day a little bit and go into the night. I mean, it handles the waves great. It paddles very easily. But I'm ready to move up to the Bonafide now. You know, we're going into our second good year of kayak fishing. I'm ready to get into the Bonafide and do some videos with that, and you know, I'm really excited that Bob got that for Bob and for Bob's with the Creek Outfitters, but also, like, you know, I'm ready to get in one. I think it's gonna be a blast. I think we're gonna have so much more opportunity, filming wise, with getting into Bonafide. So,
oh, absolutely. I mean, I think it's gonna be so much different. I can't wait to post a video of my kayak that I have rigged out now.
Yeah.
And you should be able to buy some of the mounts that are on it on our website.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully they might even be in a store or two. But
yeah, we got
to work that out. We got to work that out first. But
yeah,
hopefully, for some people that are looking for some of the stuff that we've done, hopefully.
Well, you got a great.
When we post a video.
Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You go ahead. Whatever, you always do.
I know. That's just I'm a mic hog. I'm terrible. No, I was just saying you really designed a nice looking mount, especially like for the power pole, and it leaves an opportunity to be able to put more accessories on the back of your kayak. Especially like, Bob's just started carrying, I think what it's called, the river stick. I think that's what it's called. So, even if you didn't want to go and spend the money on a power pole, I think you have the opportunity to mount that. We've got to work with that and kind of look at that before I say too much. But just that plate, even if you don't mount the power pole on there, you mount the plate, I think it's great there because you can still put more rails. If you want to put more rails right there or anything for, GoPros and all that stuff. So I think that design's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's no drilling, no nothing involved.
Yeah, it's just
goes right in your rails and that's it.
It's very professional looking. So,
but we'll have some videos. We'll have some videos of that. Hopefully, we'll shoot some video of that this weekend.
Yeah.
Too, and
yeah. We'll get some pictures.
Hopefully,
up.
It likes it.
Yeah, hopefully it floats. Is that what you said?
No, I said hopefully everybody likes it. No, it's gonna float. I took it out this weekend.
I was
really surprised at how. I was really surprised at how well it held up with the power pole. As the first time me ever using a power pole, period, and it would when I put it on the bank, I just had to back out, so I just put the power pole down, and I had to set it a little bit too high and shoot it. Almost wanted to flip the kayak over when the power pole went down. So, but it never been, never done anything to the mount. There's nothing that me even being in it didn't phase it at all.
Yeah.
So it held up really good. So
that'd be embarrassing the first time you put your power pole down and flip your kayak over.
I know. Only put your power pole on setting 1 or 2. Period. Do not go to 5. Don't start with 5.
Yeah, that's probably more for like your John boat.
Or bass boat or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's funny. I can't wait to see that. I'm excited to see the power pole mounted on the back there. And granted, the way it sounds like this lake is, you might not need it there, but I know it'll benefit you where you're at.
Depends on which end of the lake you're on.
Yeah. I mean, you get the upper end, you might get in some of the flats and stuff like that. Might be able to use it, but I know down where you're at, that's kind of, you really need it down there. You're fishing the real shallow river systems, which it ain't like fast running current, but it's enough to push you,
Oh yeah, it definitely push. I noticed a big difference with it when I went out with it for the hour and a half that I went out with it.
Yeah.
Just fishing along the bank, I could, even when it was, you wanted to fish the deeper stuff, you could actually get a little bit closer to the bank, power pole down, and I was actually able to make multiple casts to structure that I wouldn't have been able to do without really working hard.
Yeah.
In the kayak. Stay there. I felt like it made a big difference there.
That's right.
So.
Well, guys, hopefully Justin will call in here in a little bit. I know he said he was still in an interview. He didn't think. Now, Justin right now, he's practicing. I talked to Dylan actually today too. He's practicing for the Costa on the Potomac. So, kind of excited to see how those weights are going to be, man. It's, just reading some stuff and all that, it looks like it might be a little bit of a tough bite right now. I mean, it's been really hot up there, as it is here. So, but I still think you're gonna have that one guy it's just gonna be a straight slugfest. So, with a couple of the guys. So, anyways, yeah, I was gonna try to do this show tomorrow, and then he's like, the Costa starts the next day, so he said he wanted to make sure you got plenty of sleep. Plus, he has been getting hounded with wanting to do interviews by people like us. So yeah, he's probably, once we're done with this, he's probably ready for bed.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, but I mean.
So what's some of the baits you're going to use up there at Robinson? Are you going to let them out yet?
Oh yeah, I'm a Carolina Whopper Plopper. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I was going to Alabama rig a hula popper and a buzzbait at the same time.
That's dynamite. That's what I would go with.
That's what I was thinking.
With about a 4 pound test.
A 4, I was thinking 2.
Oh,
but
some people like to live dangerously, don't they?
Well, you know, it is what it is. You set your drag right, you can get anything in. That's what I'm saying. And I was actually going to flip it in grass, but...
Woo. That'd be dynamite. I think you should do that. I think that's what you should work on all day. You know, they always say when you go to a certain pattern, sometimes you got to be committed to it. And I think that is a pattern you should be committed to.
I mean, I'm thinking that I could handle it, you know?
Yeah, I think it'll work out perfect. But I'm telling you, the whole Carolina rig Whopper Plopper is going to be deadly. So.
Oh, it might be. I've got 3 tied on, so.
You got 3 tied on. Now I don't know, man. I you know me. I like, you know, being serious. I like throwing a Carolina rig. That's probably what's going to be on my hand, in my hand, most of the tournament. Hate to spill the beans too much. I won't go in particular baits until the event's over. But it's, you know, it's going to be a Carolina rig, and I don't know about cranking. I got to kind of get up there and see what it's going to be like. You know, if it's going to be as much grass as I've read about, I don't know. You know, but some of that stuff only grows in certain depth water, and if it's as deep as the lakes is, it's got to be some places up there to crank. You know.
Yeah, I think it's going to depend on what end of the lake you're on.
Yeah.
The whole time. I think it's mainly just going to be trial and error.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
it's really hard to determine what to do. I mean, I've got a few techniques that I think that I'll probably throw. You know me, I like throwing plastics, so.
Yeah.
And a jig, so it's all going to depend. I mean, you can't really get any good pictures of that place.
No, I mean,
like of shoreline and stuff like that. You know, that's what I wish I could see. Like Google Earth doesn't really show you anything but the lake, and then the other maps, and then you go, and it's hard to even find pictures of Lake Robinson.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like it's the same lake. So.
Yeah, well,
I don't really know
Bing
what to
and
expect.
Google, that's what I do. I go with Bing and Google because sometimes you catch it different times of the year, like if it's winter time when that picture was taken, or summertime. Sometimes in the fall, too, you don't get a good picture. But that's going to be the main thing, is just trying to figure out what this bank's like. You know, if you got a lot of laydowns in it, yeah, I think it's going to be a great shaky head and Texas rig bite, you know. I think that was something you could probably work the whole lake with and not have to change up a lot, you know?
Yep.
Because you can go anywhere. You can go from the deep, you can go to the shallow and work a Texas rig. So, and a shaky head. But I just, deep down inside of me, I have a feeling that, like, there's still going to we're going to get some cool nights, but I don't think it's going to be long enough cool nights to really make those fish pull up as quick as what. Now, you'll have some that are going to be a little more active up on the bank when it's cool because that water temperature and all that. And you might have some decent fish, you know. You might have some 2, 3s, and 4s up there. Cause, I mean, you always got fish shallow. No matter it's summertime, no matter it's wintertime, you're going to have fish shallow. So, but yeah. But, hey, we got I see where Justin Atkins is calling in now, so I don't want to hold him much longer.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hey, Justin, how you doing, bud?
Hey, man, I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. But I appreciate you coming on our show. I know you are a busy, busy man right now, and you're practicing for a tournament, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime, you know. Yeah, I stayed on the phone pretty good for the last week, and some run a little longer than others, and schedules get a little bent. But I'm glad I could make it on with y'all tonight, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Justin, let's go ahead and get you going on it so we don't hold you up too much and let you get some sleep for practice tomorrow. Tell us a little bit about how your practice went going into going into the Cup?
Yeah, I spent 5 days over there in pre-practice before the lake went off limit, and I fished a little shallow and didn't have any luck. And that shallow bite gets real good on Murray when it gets really hot. Like the lake thermoclines and, puts the fish shallow. In 2008, when it was there, when Michael Bennett won, the lake had a little color to it. That puts fish shallow. In 14, it was hot. And that, like I said, that gets them up there on the bank, gets your fish schooling in the top part of the water column, and it's, bluegill eaters on the bank. Well, I got there in pre-practice, I didn't have any, any luck fishing that shallow, and didn't see any fish swimming around or nothing. So I got offshore and got to graphing around with my hummingbirds, and it took me I didn't find anything the first day, and it was the second morning I found a cane pile, and I went right over the top of it. I saw it on my 2D sonar, and I knew that's what it had to be. I'd seen brush on 2D sonar 1,000 times, so I knew it was definitely some kind of, man-made structure put out in the water. So I waypointed and kind of just kept looking, and I wasn't finding any. So I came back to that one and started going around and around it. Well, what I didn't realize was that cane's so thin. When you idle by it at 5 miles an hour, it shows up on your side scan, but it's just a tiny little mark. So I idled by this one, didn't see it. So I turned my chart speed up a little bit, idled back by it, didn't see it, turned it up a little bit more until I finally got it turned up high enough. It started stretching those shadows out. And then when I had a good shadow return, I paused the screen and adjusted my sensitivity and contrast till it really made those shadows pop out. And after that, I started going back to what I'd already looked at and started finding more cane piles. Well, the beauty of that was I could see fish in the cane piles. You would have, 3 or 4 real hard returns, which would be the main stalk, but you'd have the leaves on there too, and you'd have hard circle returns, which was the bass hanging in them. So at that point, I got real dialed that, the fish were definitely offshore living in them. So fast forward 2 weeks, I get back to, practice for the tournament, and it hasn't been hot. They've had a little rain. They've had a lot of cloudy weather to keep the water temp from getting up. And I start my practice off the same way. I go right to the bank, start throwing my buzzbait around, don't get any bites, don't see any fish swimming. So, naturally, I get back offshore. First couple piles I graph by, I see some bass in them. I know that's definitely still the deal. The fish are definitely, still living offshore. And, I just committed my whole practice to idling and marking as many places as I could. The first day I fished a lot of cane piles I never made a cast on in practice. I just practiced behind those hummingbirds.
Wow. So you didn't even know, the size of fish. You were just going, and then whatever happened on the first day happened.
Well, with those mega imaging units, I can decipher the size of dots. I could tell, if it was majority striper or majority bass, and what little casting I did do out there over those cane piles. Out of 10 bass I caught, 7 of them were going to weigh over 3 pounds. I probably legitimately caught 10 bass in practice. And, out of probably a total of 40 casts, had 10 bites, and 7 of those bass were over 3 pounds. And so I knew then my odds were good. That was a really good average. And I just felt like, the odds were in my favor. If I fished a bunch of the cane piles that I had found and marked that had fish in them, that I was going to get, some good bites. I never thought I'd get 21 pounds worth of bites. I told my wife that I thought I'd catch 17 or 18 if I had a really good day and things went my way.
Now, you and your roommate there, was that something both of y'all were discussing, kind of like, hey, this is what I figured out?
No, that's all year. We definitely worked together, and kept each other, and it's not just 2 of us. Shane LeHue also runs with us, and he finished 6th in the Angler of the Year points this year. He had a stellar year. But when we got to that one, the main goal all year was to help each other make sure we all made it and that we were getting checks and making a living, and if somebody struggled a little in practice, you would, key them in, well, hey, I got some bites today flipping wood, or, whatever, maybe it's a bait. So we definitely helped each other all year, but at this event, we were all going to get paid. It was, it's the final one of the year. So we all just kind of kept hush-hush about what was going on. Who was getting bites, things like that. But me and Brandon run into each other a lot, and me and Shane even ran into each other some. But me and Brandon kind of picked up on the fact that we were seeing each other a lot out there graphing and a lot in the same areas. And when you do something for 4 days straight and you're seeing the same person, you know that you're both kind of getting dialed in on the same deal. And so we expected it. Before the tournament actually started, the discussion definitely come up that, hey, yeah, we're both going to be fishing cane piles. And obvious we're probably going to fish some of the same ones. But never did, I say, hey, Brandon, like, I'm really figuring out that these fish are living in these cane piles and you need to catch them on top water. And that's a South Carolina, North Carolina deal as it is. Everything was Heron Lake. So he knew the deal. And, we both just got it really dialed in.
So what y'all were doing was just pulling right up over top of those cane piles and throwing a top water. I mean, how deep are those piles?
The piles were, anywhere from 18 to 22, 23 foot deep, but they would stretch all the way up to 7 or 8 foot, from the surface. And you'd want to stay a long ways back off of it. And I would kind of try my points when I would find the one, one that I wanted to mark. I didn't mark them if they weren't fresh and I saw fish in them. I was finding so many that I could bypass some that I felt like were kind of subpar. And so I would triangulate my waypoints around them. And you may have 2 or 3 piles in one area. So I'd have little clusters of waypoints. And I would try to methodically approach them, think about what's going to be the best way if there's multiple piles for me to get a cast over more than one at one time, or which way is the wind blowing, things like that. So I could get a good long cast because you want to stay way back off of them. Suspended fish that are not but 8, 10 foot under the surface, when you get within 60, 70 feet of them, that's only 20 or 30 yards. Those fish know you're there. So I would stay, I would start making my cast when my depth finder says 150 feet from that waypoint, which is 50 yards. And you would just try to sit down way back from them and start trolling so you could get a good line up to be trolling straight at your waypoints and then make your mark on the bank and make that cast at that mark when you got inside the 150-foot range.
Wow. Like, I just never, I know it's a blueback herring deal, and that's something I never really run into was fishing a lake like that. And Bugs Island, they say, he's got it, but that's just crazy casting over brush piles, the fish coming up from that deep to hit that lure.
And that's the thing is Murray is so big with cane piles because it's a largemouth dominant lake. All the herring fishing I'd done before that was for spotted bass. They'll come up 20 or 25 foot water to come get a top water. It's crazy. I mean, those spots love to travel and they love to run bait down. A largemouth, has adjusted to the herring lake, but at the end of the day, he's still a largemouth. And, 10 or 15 foot is his maximum. He wants to come up to get something.
Yeah. I mean, is that a pattern that you got to just kind of stick with? I mean, do you get a lot of fish through the day with that, or is that like a couple bites a day?
When it's really good, at Murray, it was a morning deal. Some of the days of practice, it was sunny, and some of the days it was cloudy, and I kind of figured out the best bite definitely went down before 11 o'clock. On days it was cloudy, it would stretch you a couple more bites out on into lunch, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. But those fish were really feeding big in the morning. Depending on time of year, I think early in the year when those fish first start coming up to spawn and getting out around those cane piles, after the herring spawns over and things like that, I think you can do it all day. Sunny, cloudy, it doesn't matter. But as late in the year as it's getting those fish fed back up from their spawn, they kind of just get on the morning routine where they feed in the morning and they sit down, closer to the bottom around the cane piles, lunch, later on to the afternoon. And the bite was kind of done. You could throw a worm out there and get a bite every now and then, but as far as calling them up on the surface, it was, by 11 o'clock, where, you need to have your weight or you were done.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. That's just I've gotten on some fish before, just got, you see a shad pile move up in the middle of a cove, you throw a top water and get on it, but I just couldn't imagine just casting at something like that all day long. They're down there, but just trying to get them to come up.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a confidence issue I had the first couple of times I fished herring lakes, but after, a little practice and getting a few bites, you get a lot more confidence in it. And, that lake's clear, 5 or 6 foot deep, so those bass can see 10, 12, 15 foot back up to the surface and, outline that bait against the sun. And, I almost kind of took the approach of thinking about it as being a tree on the bank that I'm throwing to, or like a lay down on the bank. It's nothing different. You just had to get your bait right over the top of it or right in the middle of it, and those fish will come up and get it.
Yeah. James, you got any questions?
No, I mean, I think it's amazing. I wish I could read a graph that good or know how to dial it in that good
Well,
to be able to
get you some, you just need to get some hummingbird helixes with that new mega image, and it's unbelievable how good of a picture it draws. Just a little time on the water, find you some objects that are out there that you can see. You know, you see a tree sticking up out of the water, or you see that bridge piling, or whatever it may be, and then just idle by it and get used to how fast you're idling compared to what your chart speed is, or your sensitivity, you know, how it reacts on one setting to a really hard object versus a really soft object. It's just time on the water, spending a lot of time, and the best way to learn that is to find objects that you know are there and then looking at them instead of trying to learn it while you're looking for something.
Now, when you go to each,
yes. That makes sense.
when you go to each lake, now
I'm sorry, do what?
when you go to each lake, do you have to like dial it into each lake? You know, like if you're like there, you're looking for cane poles.
You know, no. Most of the time, I kind of got a set settings that I run it on. I normally run my chart speed on like 6 or 7, and you know, my sensitivity's 13. I think my contrast is on 9. Nothing special. Just kind of tweak it to what I like. You know, other people may have a different preference. It's always showing the same picture. It's just tweaking that picture to where it's satisfactory for you.
Yeah.
But when I started looking for cane piles, those things are just so skinny. It was in my advantage to get that picture scrolling as fast as possible. So just make them wider. It just made them more visible.
Yeah.
Is all it did, you know. And by stretching that picture out, I mean, it almost obscured some things, such as making fish, you know, look really big. I had to adjust my eyes a little bit because some of those dots looked huge, you know, but they were stripers most of the time. But, you know, a 3-pound largemouth bass made a beautiful big black circle in the middle of this cane pile, but that was just because I'd stretched him so much. So once I put everything kind of back into perspective, I could tell then what was striper, what was largemouth, what was herring, things of that nature. And, you know, now that I'm back, I'm fishing at the Potomac this week. Any side scanning I'll do, I'll turn my chart speed back down a little bit to get it back into a more reasonable, you know, perspective, because I'm not looking for something that's so small.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you want to go in your setup. What was your main bait that you were using for those fish?
Yeah, no, I was throwing an I'm a little stick, 135. It's a pencil popper style bait, 3-hook, top water. Throwing it in chrome. I bought several different brands of pencil poppers and just top waters in general, different sizes. And I kind of fell in love with the 3-hook because I could throw it so far. And I settled on the IMA because it was the only one that on windy days it didn't want to cut through the water. It would ride the waves. Some of them would try to spear through the waves, but that one rode over, 90% of them. So I felt like my bait stayed in the strike zone better, and I got, more out of each cast on windy days by throwing that IMA.
Now, what is so big of? You see that a lot down south, especially like Lake Murray and all that with the pencil poppers. What's so much better about one of those than you would like throwing a Zara spook or a popper or something kind of that line?
You can definitely call those fish up on a Sammy style bait or just a Zara spook or something like that. I wouldn't so much throw it like a popper style bait just because you can't throw it as far. I like the bigger bait that you can really heave out there. You can throw on a little more aggressive rod, things like that. But I think the pencil popper concave front end bait is so good because it makes so much noise to attract those fish up out of that 10 or 15 foot of water. It's just louder. It's making more ruckus. Maybe stimulating a little bit of schooling activity. Those fish hear all that commotion and they run up there to see if the fish are schooling. If there's something else schooling or something going on, and they get up there and they find this injured herring that's frolicking back and forth in the water and they hit him. So I just think that bigger, louder bait that spits more water is just a better choice when you're trying to call fish up out of that deep. that deep cane pile timber, whatever it may be.
Now, when you make those long casts with those baits, are you going with more of a stiffer rod? I know some people like to use a more medium action rod for, when you're throwing a top water,
Yeah,
but since you're throwing it so far out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I threw mine on a 7.5. A lot of people throw their top waters on a 7-foot or shorter rod, but making that long cast, I wanted a longer rod to be able to take up some line, but I threw it on a glass composite cranking style rod, so it was real parabolic, and to make up the difference in the parabolic, I threw it on straight braid. So the braid would get the slack out. It had no stretch in it, and that long rod would get the slack out on that long cast. But I got it a real parabolic rod, so I wouldn't bend my hooks when I jarred, a big one out there on braid 50 yards away from the boat and bend my hooks.
I got you. And what was your reel setup? You're using a higher speed reel to kind of really catch that slack up?
I was throwing absolutely. I was throwing a Revo STX and a Revo SX. The SX was a 7-to-1 and the STX was an 8-to-1. I threw the 7-to-1 most of the time just because I could keep a good cadence with that one. But I had the 8-to-1 rigged up for when they would come up schooling. I could get that cast out there, and if for some reason I missed or the bait moved and the schooling action went a different direction than I expected, I'd get that bait back even quicker to make another cast. And so that was the two, I had the exact same bait rigged up on two exact same rods, just with different reels.
I got you. James, you got anything kind of stir up any questions in your head?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are using more higher speed reels now than they are any other type of reel now. Is that just common practice now? I know we talked to some people the other day that they're using the 7 and 8s for cranking and everything like that. Do you do the same thing?
As far as cranking goes, I'm still, a Revo winch. I throw mine with a little bigger line than a lot of people do. I throw like a 6XD on 12-pound test versus 8. And that bigger line size gives you a little more gear ratio. And I keep my spools extremely full. But I still like the less resistance of the reel. You get out of that 5-to-1. But everything else I throw either on a 7-to-1 or an 8-to-1 or even a rocket where you get up into that 9-to-1, gear ratio. I would rather reel my bait, just reel my reel handle a little slower to get the, the action that I need, but be able to get that cast in and get another one out there. Or you get a big one on and he runs to the boat. I want to be able to take that line up because that's, a real common way to lose fish is you stick one and he comes right at you. You can't get that slack out of your line. So I'm, a big believer in the fast gear ratio reels. Absolutely.
Cool.
Well, yeah, that's good. So let's talk a little. I know you don't want to go too far into it because you're getting ready to start your event. But how has your practice been going for Potomac? You ain't got to go into details. Just have you had a good practice so far?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of Sunday morning. I woke up and decided I wanted to go to the Potomac kind of deal. And today's the first day I've spent on the water. Caught a few fish. It's definitely not like it was when I was here in June. I kind of expected it to be. Not to be identical, but I felt like we'd still catch a lot of fish. The bite seems to be a little tougher, but I caught a few today, caught a few decent fish. So if I can build on that a little bit tomorrow, we'll be ready to go by Thursday morning.
I got you, man. Well, tell us a little bit about how the Forest Wood Cup's changed so far. I know, you have been really busy with everything, with phone calls. We know we've been trying to get you on, but I know you've had like so many other shows you're doing too and interviews. Has it really sunk in yet that you won the Forest Wood Cup?
It does a little more every day. It still doesn't seem real. It's such a life-changing event. But at the same time, I almost try not to, I guess, reminisce on it because I don't want to get hung up in that one time I did good. Great athletes win championships and games and whatever, depending on what sports you're in, and they pat themselves on the back, give each other a high five, and they get right back in the workout room and get ready for the next tournament, the next ball game, whatever it may be. And, I just don't want to get too complacent on just saying, man, you won the Cup, and then not being ready when Florida gets here in January or something like that. So, I get to go home every afternoon and look at that trophy and, give myself a thumbs up in the reflection. But at the same time, I'm out there trying to get that next one for sure.
That's right. Now, is your plans to stay with FLW? Have you you thought about trying to qualify for the elites or?
Right now, next year I probably will fish some opens, depending on what the schedule ends up coming out to be. Just to keep options out there, But right now, I'm in love with FLW. I love the staff. I love what they stand for and what they do. And next year definitely still going to fish the tour. A couple of years, if maybe some other opportunities arise, we may make the swap. But for right now, FLW is a great place, and I'm really enjoying calling that a home workplace for sure.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, James, if you ain't got no more questions for him, but I'm gonna let him go so he can get some rest and get back out on the water tomorrow.
Yeah, I just appreciate you coming on and talking to us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I've enjoyed doing all these, interviews and things more than any of y'all ever know. I mean, it's a great way for me to build my brand, and show support for my sponsors and things like that. And, I appreciate it. Just real quick, if anybody wants to follow me, you can find me on Facebook at Justin Atkins. It's my fan page. And then I have an Instagram and a Twitter. It's Justin Atkins Fishing. I just want to say thank you to Prime One Camo. They kind of took a shot this year on a rookie. They could have sponsored a ton of people out there on tour, but they picked me, and I'm definitely in debt to them over that because without them, I wouldn't have been out there this year. TH Marine, Berkeley, Abu Garcia, Toasted Elmar Sunglasses, and, Power Pole, and last but not least, my Ranger Mercury's been unbelievable all year. I can't imagine, getting up every morning and work and not be getting in a Ranger because I know that thing's going to get me out there and get me back. And it's definitely been a great combination this year.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, Bud, you have good luck to you this weekend, and looking forward to seeing you grow more in the sport and have an even better year next year. So I don't know if you'd ever top this year since you won the Forest Wood Cup, but I hope you have even better year next year.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. Thank y'all for having me on.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm going to tell you what, that was a good interview. I know we didn't go as in-depth as I'd like to, but it's almost 10 o'clock, and he's getting ready to go fish practice again tomorrow. And these guys, if you don't follow tournament fishing, these guys are up before the sun is up, getting things ready to get back out on that water. So, he's been busy with interviews and all that. So I didn't want to hold him up too much more. But rest assured, we'll probably get him on and do some more in-depth segments as the year's winding down. And but what do you think, James? I mean, he's a very well-spoken guy.
Yeah, I mean, I love how in-depth he went with, with his fish finders, his setups, and he's really in-depth with all that stuff. So that's he definitely knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he hit the nail on the head.
I learned a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I learned a lot. I mean.
Yeah.
He because I didn't even think about like you said, he rode over those spots and he couldn't find them after he rode over it.
Yeah.
And he adjusted his fish finder, and then he started picking it up. I mean.
Yeah, he said he was just picking up
you just
smile.
Get on the water. You just got to get on the water and play around with this stuff, man. I mean, that's all it is to it is time on the water and just really knowing your equipment.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say. He really hit the nail on the head when, if you listen to every single pro that we've talked to, somewhere along the interview, they say time on the water, And it might not be exactly said that way, but it's time with either the gear on the water, doing something with it. You know what I mean? That's like Aaron Martin's, for instance. Half the stuff that he does, it ain't something he just learned on the water on some of it. Some of it was sitting in his boat playing with tackle and tinkering and figuring out how the stuff works, When it comes to that, when it comes to just time on the water, if you ain't got time to go out on the lake, go sit down in your bass boat and put your graphs on and play with them a little bit. Now, granted, simulation mode is different when you get out on the lake, But if you get down there and you learn your basics and how to change your stuff and see what it changes through your simulation, when you get out of the water, you can kind of, you're not playing with it more. You know what I mean? You're not wasting time going through your options. So, like I said, man, time on the water, time just playing with all your stuff, getting to know your tackle and your gear and how it makes certain things work.
Yep.
You know, that's like the unit you just put on your boat, you know? Granted, you're going to get up there and you might be able to figure out some things and see some fish, but you're not really truly going to learn it until you just go out there fishing one day and just keep your eye on that graph, you know, and play with it.
Oh, yeah, and just go through the settings and all that stuff. I mean, it's going to help, you know. I mean, you'll be able to see some structure and stuff on the bottom that you can't see with the naked eye. That's it. But
yeah.
Until you can get out there and actually play with it and actually see what's going on, you know, between hard bottoms, you know, hard bottoms, soft bottoms, and all that stuff. I mean, that's what you need to really, really figure out, so you know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, I mean, you know, like I say, we didn't go as in depth as I wanted, but it more that I sit back and think about it. I mean, there was other key things we went in depth on, you know, whether it be the topwater fishing. And, you know, you're hearing more and more. A lot of these guys are not using the monos or I mean, there's still people using fluorocarbons. But each show, we get to listen to more and more about line. And if you go back and you listen to our shows, I mean, go all the way back to the first one with Mike McClellan and just listen. As you get further and farther, you're seeing more and more people are starting to just kind of just transition over to the braid for everything. Especially, you know, top waters and all that stuff. So, you know, Jason,
well, it's either braid or fluorocarbon. I mean,
yeah,
you don't really see, like, definitely, it seems like the mono is phasing, like, I mean, they're using fluorocarbon leaders. They're either using braid with fluorocarbon leaders or something, but
you know,
it's crazy. But like the 6-3-to-1 reels, there's nobody using them. It doesn't seem like.
No, you don't really hear about it much.
Well, that's why I asked, because, you know, I mean, in the last show that we did, you know, people were using real high-speed reels for just everything.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know, I mean, how many people are actually still using winches?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's what I use, but like you said, I mean, if you catch a fish on a crankbait, to me, you're already hooked up, so you know where it's at. You know, it's not hitting it and running to the boat before you ever set the hook. I mean, pretty much your crankbait, it just loads the rod.
Yeah.
So it ain't like you even got to set the hook real hard, you know? It's already there.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
but like I said, if they do hit it sometimes, like when they hit a crankbait, sometimes they knock slack in it, you know? So that gives you the opportunity to pull that slack out. So.
Yep.
Yeah, that's, you know, that's just, you know, when it comes to me, when we started going high speed, which was 7-to-1, you know, now you got your 8s and your burners, your 9s and all that. But, you know, jig fishing, it was just like, if you wasn't fishing a 7-to-1, you were a dummy. You know, that's how I felt. And, but when you...
Absolutely. I mean, like, I won't never throw a jig or a Texas rig or anything like that without being at least a 7-to-1.
Yeah.
But on my new jig reel, I mean, that's an 8-to-1.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that reel. And I'll probably never throw anything less than an 8 on a jig anymore. You know?
Yeah.
Just.
And that's probably what I'm going to work up.
But, you know,
when Christmas time rolls around, I think that's what I'm going to ask for, you know. I'm going to try to get me something. So, you know, just with Texas rigging. You know, we love the Texas rig a lot, and our Carolina rigging. You know, I mean, there's the times where they pick that daggone Carolina rig up and start coming to you, and you don't really. Now all of a sudden your line's passing your weight. You know what I mean, when they're coming to you. So you got to reel that slack in real quick. So I mean, that's something I'm going to start working over too.
I would go with a burner with the Carolina rig nowadays because you throw it so far. You know. So you're throwing that, you know, twice as far as you're going to throw a Texas rig. So maybe having that 9-to-1 will be even that much better. Because, I mean, mainly you just want to feel the bottom, and if you're just barely taking that thing across the bottom, you know how fast you're moving it.
Yeah,
you know,
when you're Carolina rigging, you don't
move.
Yeah, well, when you're Carolina rigging, you're not. I mean, not unless you're doing like a wobble head or something like that. When you're Carolina rigging, you're dragging. You're doing a side sweep. You know, I mean, you can pull over towards your head a little bit, but then you set yourself up for a bad hook set. But most of the time, you're dragging from side to side, and you know you got to reel that slack back out when you're going to get set up for the next drag. So I mean, you know, that high speed reel is going to be very important when it comes to that, and I'm hoping to get me one here soon for my lizard dragon rod, my Falcon lizard draggers. I love that rod, man. I've had another one, then I got the Series 2 now, and I just love that thing when it comes to dragging the Carolina rig. It's awesome.
Yeah, I just got that weightless worm rod.
Yeah, I got to try that one out. I want to see that because I think that'd be. Is that more like a medium action rod though? Like, is it a medium for a weightless worm? So it loads up.
I think it is. Let me get up. I'll grab it real quick.
Because that's.
Yeah, I mean, it feels.
It'd be a great fluke rod.
It feels really good. It's a shorter rod. It feels really good. Yeah, I can't wait to throw this rod this weekend. I might even whoop your butt on this one.
Oh, Jesus. You ain't gonna whip nobody. You be doing good if that kayak floats off a boat ramp.
Oh, don't you worry about that.
Oh, man. No. But real talk, you ain't gonna whoop me. So,
Oh, God. Here we go.
Watch us both get whooped. Watch us both come in last.
If you beat me, you ain't staying in my camper.
Oh, yes, I will. Y'all won't sleep that night. I can guarantee you
won't
that.
have a place to stay.
Huh?
What?
What'd you say?
Beat me, you won't have a place to stay.
I'll just drive back to Bedford. Sort of loser. You'll get text. Sort of loser.
I'm sure it'll probably be more than that, but we won't go into that.
Yeah, it'll be one of those eclipse pictures.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man. We'll leave it right there on that table. Nah, I don't actually. You know what? I'll talk about that on the phone with you about lure wise, because I don't want to spill the beans yet and get my butt whipped by some of these guys. Some of these guys fishing this tournament. I won't say all of them. They made the top 6. Pretty good fishermen. So I don't want to give them too much insight on something that we might be able to figure out. But you know. All in all, man, I think this event's going to be great. I appreciate Bob doing a video today, releasing the location of it. But it's going to be a great event, and I'm super excited. I've since Bob released it, now I know I ain't going to be able to sleep at night for the next couple of nights because I'm like, oh, man, I don't know what to do. My garage is going to be like 20 rods rigged up. I'm only going to be able to carry, 4? I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be. Mainly, the guys just need to remember, just fish your strengths.
Yeah.
Don't go out there and try to, try something new just because everybody else is catching them on it. I mean, just stick with what you like to do.
Well, that's the thing. You don't.
If you don't have confidence in what you're throwing, you're not going to throw it, and then you're going to be switching back and forth 100 different times.
Yeah.
Pretty much what I'm going to go out there with tied on. I mean, I might change a couple different worm colors or whatever just when I'm trying to figure them out. But other than that, I'm not carrying a bunch of stuff out there with me. I mean,
no. I'm gonna go old school Friday. If we go out there Friday, I'm gonna go old school. I'm gonna paddle around. I'm gonna paddle the whole entire lake, and then I'm going to probably drag a little bit just to feel the bottom. And this is one of the things, man, you don't know what you're getting into. You know what I mean? That's what I like about this format. So, and I think in next year, me and Bob's been talking and getting a schedule made, not a schedule made up, but talking about how we wanted to do a series next year for points. So instead of just having 1 month-long event, we'll have either 1 or 2 month-long events and 1 or 2 you got to show up to that area to get, it's like a 1-day event. So, and do a couple of those. So you kind of get everybody together. But, and the top 6 go in points, or I don't know. It's so many different. Me and you was talking the other day, James. There's so many different ways you can really format this to make it work. So, but yeah, that's what we plan on doing next year. So stay tuned to that, guys, because that's something me and Bob and James have been really talking about doing for next year. So I think that's going to be great. That's going to be fun. But then also have it to where the Mystery Lake is either unknown or just announce it, and have it on a big body of water. I think here's fun. It's going to be great because it's small and no one knows nothing about it. But, have some big bodies of water involved with it. Like have a 1-day event at Leesville or a day event at Bugs Island, I think that's what would be fun. So, but anyways, James, you got anything else to add, man? I mean, guys, like I say, we may or may not be doing a show Thursday. We were going to do one tomorrow, and we're going to get Luther on from Bonafide and Yak Attack and talk about Bonafide and where they're looking at things going and, just the whole building of the kayak and why he got involved with that. So we were setting it up for tomorrow night, but got some other things going on family-wise, and I know, James, you got some things going on. So trying to shoot for Thursday night, but if it don't happen, it'll probably go into next week because it is so much going on with this tournament and still got some things to finish up, to tidy up. So plus getting tackle ready. So anyways, guys, James, if you ain't got nothing else to say, I hope you don't because I don't want to hear it.
I know. I'll just call you later.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, appreciate everybody coming on.
There's nothing that I can say on the show. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I figured that. Guys, I want to thank our sponsors again. I know we don't do it enough as we should. I mean, we're always trying to thank them at the beginning and at the end of the show. Just try not to do commercials. I want to keep our show particularly just to fishing, and that way people are just hearing nothing but information about fishing. So just really want to thank Falcon, Mr. Fishing Crate, Missile Baits, Costa, J&J Custom Tackle, Yak Lights, and also, most importantly, main sponsor show, Bob's at the Creek Outfitters. Guys, if it wasn't for them, like I say it every time, me and James say it every time, we wouldn't have a show. They really help us out. They really support us, and they really believe in what we got and what we're growing. And we really believe in what they got, because you can ask me and James, even when we're not on the show, we do not like to promote a product that we ain't got faith in. So, and we got faith in every single product that's on our show. So I just want to thank them. They've been great sponsors. And, guys, please go check them out. We got links at the bottom. So go check them out. Like them on Facebook. Like them on Instagram. And go check your websites out. All of them got some really great stuff. So other than that, that's all I got to say, guys. Don't forget about our contest. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and check our webpage out, OneObjectiveBF.com. Got all our videos up there, all our blogs. I'm working on another blog now called The What If Fish. So that'll be up soon. But anyways, guys, check us out, and y'all have a great night. See you, James.
See you, man. Bye.